The beginning of the tea business was quite serendipitous in a way, if serendipitous is the right word. One of those strange things that happened a long time ago now. I wrote an encyclopedia, an attempt to present to the general public a book on this enormous subject of herbs and herbalism. And it was called the Encyclopedia of Herbs and Herbalism, of course. And one day I had a telephone call from a gentleman who had spent some time in the tea business and had ended his career there, had read the book, or found the book, and on the phone he asked me in a fairly timorous way, did I think there was a future in herb teas? And he had the idea that he'd moved from green and black teas, or black teas in those days predominantly, to things like peppermint and chamomile. And of course I thought it was a fairly good idea at that time, and we're talking back in the 70s, late 70s. There were a few companies, largely German companies and some Italian companies, selling herb teas on the British market, but it wasn't a particularly popular thing to be drinking. And I supported the idea, and the gentleman duly went away and started a small business in the south of London, which grew into a very successful business over the years. And as happens, as we all know, during the process of working hard day and night, he became a little bit anxious about life, a little bit hypertensive, and ended up with his GP with a mild heart condition, as one would call it, basically anxiety. Now at that time I had started and was running a clinic, a herbal clinic in Cambridge, working very hard, dealing with all sorts of fascinating individuals who were, in my opinion, responding pretty well to what I had learnt about medical botany or herbal medicine. And the gentleman concerned duly became a patient. He asked me if I could help him out rather than taking drugs from his GP, which led to a very simple formulation, a very simple decoction, tincture of lime flowers, hawthorn and yarrow, with a bit of flavouring to help him take what was largely described as ghastly medicines by taste. And between 3, 4, 5, 6 months taking this, he was delighted by his improvement, went back to the GP and was told he didn't need to take anything else. He'd recovered pretty well. This interestingly led to his conversion, in a sense, to an understanding that simple plant medicines can be of benefit in particularly his condition, but probably also in a range of other conditions of not a serious nature. And he asked me whether I would extend the concept that he had started of herbal and fruit teas into something that was rather more medical, rather more medicinal, rather more therapeutic. And to be quite honest, this was something that seemed very much at variance with my own feeling about the need for the subject of herbal medicine, what I call medical botany, to develop seriously much more than from the condition in which it was being viewed at that time. And my objective and my involvement in Cambridge then was pretty academic, an extension of my own academic and medical interests. And the mix between the two didn't seem to be particularly correct for me as an individual. And to be honest with you, we spent the best part of a year or so discussing the possibilities, and ultimately I realized that there was an ability to help him develop very simple, beneficial materials which did not fall into the class of medicines, but which were of value to people at a very simple level to improve their health and well-being. And that necessitated taking a very very high position on the status and the quality of the raw materials. This meant that my involvement in the tea business with the use of my name would have to be inclusive of the use of plants which satisfied a scientific quality, scientific standard that was described as a pharmacopoeial standard. That meant it would achieve the standards delineated in the Book of Words, the Pharmacopoeia, which in the early 80s meant a German pharmacopoeia, Deutsche Arzneibuch, and edition 10, DAB 10. And there existed in Germany, and at that time more or less only in Germany, a set of standards which were world quality standards, which provided the ability for plant resources grown in different places to meet measurable quality that was acceptable to the medical fraternity within Germany and beyond. So we agreed that I would become involved and help him to create some interesting blends, provided that we adhered to this medical grade DAB 10, which in point of fact we now describe as active botanicals, which is another story that we can perhaps discuss at another time.